First Contact Protocol. The Krellian Empire had ruled 17 star systems for over 3 millennia. Their sleek crystalline ships moved through space like predators through dark water. Sensors constantly searching for new territories to claim, new species to subjugate. Commander Zarthex stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion, his forearms clasped behind his elongated torso as he studied the tactical display. Energy anomaly detected in Sector 779, his science officer announced, her violet eyes narrowing as she analyzed the data streaming across her console. The readings were unlike anything in their extensive database. Not quite a ship signature, not quite a planetary installation, something else entirely. Zarthex's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. In his 200 cycles of service, he had encountered dozens of species, conquered half of them, and negotiated treaties with the rest. But this was different. The energy signature pulsed with an almost organic rhythm, as if the very fabric of space was breathing. Set course for the anomaly, he commanded. Full sensor sweep. I want to know everything about that sector before we arrive. The journey took 3 standard cycles. As they approached, the readings became more puzzling. The source appeared to be a small moon orbiting a gas giant in an unremarkable system. No signs of civilization on any nearby worlds. No communication beacons. No defensive platforms. Just that strange, rhythmic pulse of energy. Visual range achieved, the navigation officer reported. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing what appeared to be an abandoned mining facility built into the moon's surface. Massive extraction towers jutted from craters like broken teeth, their surfaces covered in a thick layer of cosmic dust. Processing plants sat dark and silent. Storage facilities gaped open to the vacuum, their contents long since scattered to the void. Life signs? Zarthex asked. Negative, Commander. The facility appears to have been abandoned for at least 50 cycles, possibly longer. The commander's primary eyes narrowed, while his secondary pair continued scanning the data feeds. Something wasn't right. The energy signature was definitely coming from this location, but nothing on the surface could generate such readings. Prepare a boarding party, he ordered. Full combat protocols. Whatever's down there, I want answers. The shuttle descended through the thin atmosphere, landing near what appeared to be the main administrative complex. Zarthex led the team himself, their environmental suits gleaming under the harsh light of the distant sun. The facility's airlock was surprisingly intact, its controls dead but the manual override still functional. Inside, the corridors were eerily preserved. No signs of battle, no bodies. Equipment sat exactly where it had been left, as if the entire population had simply vanished mid-shift. Dust motes danced in the beams of their helmet lights as they moved deeper into the complex. Commander, his technical specialist called out, examining a terminal that still had power. This is interesting. The facility's main computer is still operational, running on some kind of automated maintenance cycle. Can you access it? Already in, sir. It's not encrypted. Almost like they wanted someone to find this. The screen flickered to life, displaying a simple message in universal standard text. Welcome, visitors. Please state your intentions. Before Zarthex could respond, every screen in the facility activated. Every light blazed to life. The rhythmic energy pulse they had detected suddenly intensified, and deep beneath their feet, they could feel machinery awakening from its long slumber. A holographic projection materialized in the center of the room. A human figure, middle-aged by their species standards, wearing a simple uniform with no visible rank insignia. The projection smiled warmly. Greetings, the figure said in flawless Krellian. I am Station Commander Marcus Hayes, Earth Colonial Authority, Outpost Delta 77. You are currently standing in one of humanity's 347 automated monitoring stations, scattered throughout this region of space. Zarthex's combat instincts screamed danger, but he maintained his composure. This facility is abandoned. You are a recording. Partially correct, Hayes replied, his image shifting slightly. I am an advanced AI construct based on the original Commander Hayes, who established this outpost 73 years ago. The biological staff evacuated 61 years ago, but I remain to fulfill my primary directive, which is to wait for someone like you to arrive, Commander Zarthex of the Krellian Empire. The boarding party raised their weapons instinctively. The AI knew who they were, had been expecting them. Hayes raised his hands peacefully. Please, there's no need for alarm. We've been aware of your empire's expansion patterns for quite some time. This facility and the others like it were specifically placed in your projected path. You're claiming humanity predicted our movements decades ago? Not predicted, Commander. Influenced. Every seemingly abandoned outpost you've passed in the last 20 cycles has been one of ours. Every derelict vessel your salvage teams investigated. Every mysterious energy signature your scientists couldn't quite explain. We've been mapping your routes, learning your protocols, understanding your psychology. The floor beneath them hummed with increasing intensity. Through the transparent aluminum windows, Zarthex could see the mining towers beginning to move. Not extracting from the moon, but unfolding like massive flowers. Each tower was actually a camouflage communications array, and they were all activating simultaneously. You asked about my primary directive, Hayes continued. It's simple. When the Krellian Empire finally arrived at one of our facilities, I was to extend an invitation. An invitation to what? To meet humanity properly. You see, Commander, your empire has been living inside our territory for the past 30 cycles. You just didn't know it. The tactical display on Zarthex's wrist computer went haywire. Thousands of new contacts appeared across the sector. Ships powering up from standby mode. Stations dropping their stealth fields. Entire installations revealing themselves on moons and asteroids the Krellians had dismissed as worthless. Impossible, Zarthex breathed. Our surveys showed no intelligent life in this region. Because we didn't want to be found until we were ready, Hayes explained patiently. Humanity learned long ago that first impressions matter. We watched your empire, studied your methods. You conquer through intimidation and superior firepower, so we decided to take a different approach. You hid from us? We prepared for you. Every one of those installations you're now detecting is fully automated, has been for decades. They're not military bases, Commander. They're infrastructure. Mining stations, research outposts, communication relays, manufacturing centers. We built an entire network around your empire while you were looking elsewhere. Through the windows, Zarthex could see ships emerging from hidden hangars carved into the moon's surface. Not warships, but cargo haulers. Science vessels, diplomatic couriers. Hundreds of them, all bearing the same simple marking. A blue and green sphere on a white field. Earth. Your expansion has brought you to 17 systems, Hayes continued. Humanity has settled 312. We just did it quietly. No fanfare, no conquered populations, no grand announcements. We found empty worlds and made them productive. We located resource-rich systems and developed them. We discovered strategic locations and fortified them. Why reveal yourselves now? Because your empire has reached the edge of what we consider our core territories. Beyond this point, Commander, you would encounter human colonies with civilian populations, families, children, and that's where we draw our line. The threat was implicit, but unmistakable. Zarthex's mind raced, calculating odds, reviewing strategies. His empire's entire military doctrine was based on projecting strength against known enemies. But how did one fight an opponent who had spent decades hiding their true capabilities? You're bluffing, he said finally. No species could maintain such secrecy across such a vast area. Hayes smiled. Commander, you're standing in a facility your empire passed by 4 times without investigation because our stealth systems made it appear to be a dead rock. Your own records show 37 similar worthless locations in this sector alone. Would you like me to activate all of them? He didn't wait for an answer. The holographic display expanded, showing the entire sector in real time. One by one, installations began revealing themselves. Mining operations on asteroids the Krellians had catalogued as iron poor. Research stations and radiation fields they deemed too dangerous to explore. Supply depots hidden in the rings of gas giants they'd never bothered to survey properly. This is just one sector, Hayes said quietly. Humanity has been doing this for 70 years, Commander. We call it the Seed Protocol. Spread far, dig deep, stay quiet, and wait. We knew eventually someone like you would come. The question now is what happens next. The boarding party stood frozen, their weapons still raised but suddenly feeling inadequate. Through their communication system, Zarthex could hear panic spreading across his fleet as more and more human installations revealed themselves. His empire's proud armada was surrounded by an enemy they hadn't even known existed. The quiet invasion commander Zarthex stood in the facility's command center, his forearms now hanging loosely at his sides as the full scope of humanity's deception became clear. The holographic haze had been joined by dozens of other AI constructs, each representing a different human installation throughout the sector. They stood in a semicircle, patient and unthreatening, waiting for the Krellian commander to process what he was seeing. "Show me everything," Zarthex said finally, his voice carrying the weight of resignation. "I need to understand the full extent of your presence." Hayes nodded and the holographic display zoomed out, encompassing not just the local sector but the entire region of space the Krellian Empire claimed as its domain. What appeared next defied everything Zarthex thought he knew about territorial expansion. The Krellian Empire's 17 systems glowed purple on the display, connected by the bright lines of established trade routes and military patrol paths. But surrounding them, interwoven like a vast web, were hundreds of small green dots. Human installations. They weren't concentrated in any one area, but scattered strategically, each one positioned to monitor key hyperspace lanes, resource points, and strategic locations. "The seed protocol has 3 phases," Hayes explained, manipulating the display to highlight different elements. Phase 1. Infiltration. We send out automated probe ships no bigger than cargo containers to survey systems. They're designed to be ignored, to look like space debris or natural phenomena. These probes identify suitable locations for Phase 2. The display shifted, showing the construction process in accelerated time. Phase 2. Cultivation. Self-replicating machines arrive at selected sites and begin construction. They work slowly, sometimes taking decades to complete a single installation. They use local materials, minimize energy signatures, and operate primarily during periods when surveillance is unlikely. "And Phase 3? Zarthex asked, though he suspected he already knew. "Revelation. What's happening right now? When circumstances require it, we reveal our presence and open diplomatic channels." "You call this diplomatic?" Zarthex's primary eyes flashed with anger. "You've surrounded my empire with hidden bases. This is an invasion." "No, Commander," another AI construct interjected. This one appeared as a young woman in scientific attire. "An invasion seeks to take something from someone else. We've taken nothing from the Krellian Empire. Every installation we've built is on unclaimed territory, dead worlds, or locations your own surveys deemed worthless. We've been very careful about that." She gestured and the display showed detailed legal documentation. "According to Galactic Convention Treaty 77 Alpha, which your empire signed, any celestial body not claimed and registered within 50 cycles of discovery becomes open territory. We've followed every interstellar law, every treaty obligation. We just did it quietly." Zarthex's tactical officer spoke through the communication system. "Commander, I'm reading power signatures from over 900 installations in our immediate vicinity. If these are military installations—" "They're not," Hayes interrupted, apparently able to hear the communication. "Perhaps a demonstration would help. Station Gamma 9, please show the commander your primary function." One of the green dots on the display pulsed, and a new hologram appeared showing the interior of a massive hydroponic facility. Row upon row of crops grew under artificial sunlight, tended by robots that moved with precise efficiency. "Gamma 9 produces enough food to supply 15 colonies, the station's AI reported. "We've been operating for 43 years, providing emergency supplies to struggling settlements regardless of species affiliation, including 3 Krellian outposts during your famine of Cycle 4427. Zarthex's secondary eyes widened. He remembered that famine. Emergency supplies had arrived from an anonymous benefactor, saving thousands of Krellian colonists. His government had never discovered the source. "Station Beta 12, Hayes called out. Another installation revealed itself, this one a medical research facility. "We've been working on a cure for the Andromeda plague," its AI announced. "We're close to a breakthrough. Once complete, we intend to share it freely with all affected species, including the 7 Krellian worlds currently suffering outbreaks." One by one, the stations reported their functions. Manufacturing centers producing construction materials, communication relays facilitating trade between isolated systems, research stations studying everything from stellar phenomena to archaeological discoveries, mining operations extracting resources from locations too dangerous for crewed missions. "You're telling me," Zarthek said slowly. That humanity has built an entire shadow civilization not for conquest but for infrastructure? The strongest empire isn't the one with the most weapons, Commander, Hayes replied. It's the one everyone else can't afford to fight. Every major trade route in this region now depends on our communication relays. 30% of the medical supplies used by surrounding civilizations come from our facilities, the rare elements your own empire needs for its hyperdrives. Check where your merchants have been buying them for the past decade. The commander's communication system crackled with an urgent message from his fleet. Sir, we're receiving signals from the homeworld. The High Council is demanding an immediate report. Zarthex looked at the human AI constructs, then at his boarding party, who stood frozen in uncertainty. Everything they had been taught about expansion, about conquest, about the nature of power itself, was being challenged. Tell me about Earth, he said finally. Your homeworld. Where is it? Hayes smiled sadly. Earth is very far from here, Commander. So far that most humans in this region have never seen it. We learned something important from our own history. Empires that expand from a single point are vulnerable. One strong enemy, one natural disaster, one plague, and everything falls apart. So we didn't expand. We dispersed. The display changed again, showing not an expanding sphere of influence, but a seemingly random scatter of points across the galaxy. There is no human empire, Commander. There are millions of independent human settlements, each self-sufficient, each connected by shared values rather than centralized control. The Seed Protocol isn't a military strategy. It's survival evolution. But surely you have a government, a military command structure. We have cooperation agreements, mutual defense pacts, trade partnerships, but no emperor, no supreme council, no centralized authority that could be targeted or corrupted. Each installation you see operates independently while choosing to work toward common goals. Zarthex's mind reeled. The Krellian Empire had spent millennia perfecting the art of centralized control, building ever larger fleets, ever more powerful weapons. Meanwhile, humanity had been spreading like vegetation, each seed capable of growing into something self-sustaining. What do you want from us, he asked. Nothing, Hayes replied simply. We want nothing from the Krellian Empire, but we offer you a choice. Continue your expansion in other directions, leave human settlements in peace, and benefit from the infrastructure we've built, or try to fight an enemy you can't properly target, whose defeat wouldn't actually accomplish anything and whose removal would collapse half the region's economy. You're threatening us with economic warfare? We're not threatening anything, Commander. We're explaining reality. Your empire could destroy every installation we've revealed today. Your weapons are more than capable. But tomorrow, new seeds would begin growing. 10 years from now, they'd be operational. 20 years from now, they'd be so integrated into the region's functioning that removing them would cause more harm to you than to us. The science officer from Zarthex's ship interrupted again. Commander, I've been analyzing their revealed positions. If these installations switched to military production, they could manufacture a fleet larger than ours within 2 cycles. But we won't, Hayes said quickly. Humans learned that lesson too. Military might without purpose is just expensive metal floating in space. We'd rather build hospitals than warships, rather plant crops than deploy troops. But, he paused. Meaningfully, we're fully capable of doing both if necessary. A new figure materialized in the room, this one different from the others. Where the AI constructs were stable and clear, this image flickered slightly, tinged with the telltale signs of real-time hyperspace transmission. A living human, broadcasting from an impossible distance. Commander Zarthex, the figure said. I'm Admiral Sarah Chen speaking from Earth Actual. The AI constructs have explained our presence, but I wanted to personally extend our offer. Earth Actual? Zarthex couldn't hide his surprise. But the transmission lag should be. We've developed some interesting communication technologies in our isolation, Chen said with a slight smile. Commander, the Krellian Empire stands at a crossroads. You can see us as invaders and respond accordingly, or you can see us as what we truly are, your newest neighbors. Neighbors who hid from us for decades. Neighbors who respected your sovereignty while establishing our own. We've taken nothing from you, threatened none of your holdings, conquered none of your subjects. We've simply existed alongside you, waiting for the right moment to introduce ourselves. Hey. Zarthex looked at his boarding party, seeing his own uncertainty reflected in their faces. The Krellian Empire had protocols for dealing with enemies, for conquering the weak, for negotiating with equals. But they had nothing for dealing with a species that had made itself indispensable before even announcing its existence. What you're proposing, he said carefully, is unprecedented. The High Council will never accept a human presence this extensive within our sphere of influence. Then expand your sphere, Chen suggested. The galaxy is vast, Commander. The Krellian Empire has been so focused on controlling 17 systems that you've ignored thousands of others. We're offering to share what we've learned, to show you how to grow without conquering, to expand without destroying. And if we refuse? Chen's expression grew serious. Then we continue as we have been. Quiet, productive, and watchful. Your empire can pretend we don't exist and we'll pretend to let you. But Commander, wouldn't it be better to work together? Your military strength combined with our infrastructure network could bring prosperity to this entire region. The room fell silent except for the low hum of the facility's power systems. Through the windows, Zarthex could see human vessels continuing to emerge from hidden hangars. Not in threat, but in greeting. Cargo ships were already queuing to dock with Krellian vessels, their holds undoubtedly full of trade goods and diplomatic gifts. His tactical officer's voice came through the comm system one more time. Commander, we're receiving reports from across the Empire. Human installations are revealing themselves in every sector. They're offering aid. Medical supplies to our plague worlds, food to our struggling colonies, technical assistance to our damaged infrastructure. The choice is yours, Commander, Hayes said gently. We can be the greatest threat your empire has ever faced, or the greatest opportunity it's ever encountered. Humanity chose cooperation over conquest. What will the Krellian Empire choose? Zarthex stood motionless for a long moment, the weight of decision pressing down upon his shoulders. His entire military career had been built on the principle of strength through dominance. But here stood humanity, proving that strength could come from something else entirely, from patience, from planning, from the simple act of being too useful to fight. I will need to convey this to the High Council, he said finally. Of course, Admiral Chen nodded. Take all the time you need. We've waited 70 years, Commander. We can wait a little longer. As Zarthex and his boarding party prepared to leave, Hayes called out one last time. Commander, you asked what we want. We want the same thing every species wants. To survive, to thrive, and to not be alone in the universe. The Krellian Empire has 17 systems. Humanity has 312. Together we could have thousands. The shuttle ride back to the flagship was silent. Zarthex stood at the viewport watching as more and more human installations revealed themselves. It wasn't an invasion, he realized. It was something far more profound. It was evolution. While the Krellian Empire had been perfecting the art of war, humanity had been perfecting the art of peace. And somehow, that had made them far more dangerous than any enemy the Empire had ever faced.